Hello, this is Philip Cargom. Welcome to Tea with a Druid number 42. Now, do signal if you're having a problem with the sound. I've had a little trouble with my microphone. I'm moving it nearer to me now. Tell me if you can't hear me, and I'll see what I can do. In the end, I'll talk like this all the time. Um, and do say you're here if you feel like it. It's always lovely to see Jason and Ellie and Beth. That's lovely to see you arriving, and Melissa and Holly and Jules. Fantastic, fantastic. And tell me, can Alfred? You can hear me. That's fantastic. Winston says you can hear. Okay, hooray! Hello from the Netherlands. Good. I'm glad the microphone's working. Um, so, well, there's a beautiful, beautiful full moon outside, and it's a very, very special time of year. I hope you enjoyed Steve. I think you did. Steve gave the tea session last week. Stephanie and I were away, and I think you really enjoyed him. And he's promised to come back. He's a fantastic guy. One of the lovely things about OBOD is the people really. And as Steve said, he's been in the order for 25 years. He now has a team of 50 mentors. So we have a group of 50 people all over the world who give of their time to advise and help people who are following the course in Druidry, usually through email, but sometimes through snail mail as well. And then Steve coordinates those 50 people and has 2 deputy coordinators as well. So a triad of 3 people coordinate 50 people. And it just works beautifully and it's lovely. And so thank you, Steve, for doing that. And I hope you will come back. 2 weeks ago, in the last tea session I did, I talked about the loving kindness meditation. And I said that I was going to try it every day and see how it worked. And I invited anybody to join me. I don't know whether you did or not, but I've certainly found it's made me softer. It started to soften me, which has felt very pleasant. And in fact, I can report that I told my mother about it, and there she was in her old people's home, with nurses and so on around her. But we tried doing it together. I explained to her what the loving kindness meditation was, and I sort of adapted and made it a simpler version of it. She could keep going for about 5 minutes, and then she lost her focus and concentration. But it was lovely to do it with her, and I've done it twice actually already, and it certainly made it easier for me to make these visits to her, and just to sit with that soft, warm feeling of love. So let me know if you did try it out and how it's been for you. But I thought, Melanie in Kentucky, we may need a boat to get around here soon. Gosh, well, yes, you've been having a rough time out there in the States. I almost thought we'd need a boat on Sunday. It poured with rain, but then it was all clear. And today there's been this most delicate sunshine in the air. And I was sitting in the sun in the garden, looking at the trees, the leaves, the flowers. There's some roses coming out, sort of second season of roses coming out. And I had that sense that I often get in autumn, which is, it can be mistaken for melancholy, but I've realized that it's not really sadness. So if it is sadness, it's a kind of sweet sadness. It's a real appreciation of the fragility. It's like the sunlight, although it was warming, as soon as a small cloud went in front of the sun, there was this chill breeze from the sort of announcing the coming of winter soon. And so the awareness of transience, of the fact that the summer is about to end at any moment, that the sunlight may be warm, but it's a fragile kind of warmth, brings with it a sort of beauty. It's as if we really it's like looking at a butterfly's wing, and it's so delicate. Or looking at a child, young, the feeling you get looking at a young child, and you know they're going to grow up soon, and you could feel sad about it. You could feel gloomy about the fact that this sweet little kid is going to turn into a big horrible old adolescent or something. But if you don't go that route and you stay with the route of being in the now, there's a lovely feeling which comes out of an awareness of transience. And then with a lovely synchronicity, Stephanie said to me, "You've got to listen to this radio program," which I did. And I give a link to it in the blog post. So Rabbi Gelfand, who gives the most fantastic, it's like a gift to the soul, this talk. And she talks, funnily enough, she was also tuning into this feeling of autumn as well. And she was talking about this concept of brokenness and fragility. And she introduced me to the idea of kintsugi pottery, which I didn't know about. It's a tradition in Japan. When a pot is broken, instead of throwing it away or seeing it, gluing it together and seeing it as a second-rate pot, you actually put gold or platinum or silver in the repair, and you create a pot that has these beautiful lines of gold or silver in it, and it's seen as appreciated as being beautiful. And this idea comes out of this, was related to another Japanese idea, which is called wabi-sabi, which comes out of Buddhism originally, the teachings of impermanence in Buddhism. And the idea of wabi-sabi is that we're not looking for perfection. We're not looking for invincibility. We're appreciating flaws and weaknesses as a part of life, as a part of each one of us. We're appreciating brokenness. And that's a powerful and touching idea. She finishes her broadcast by quoting a Hasidic rabbi who said, the whole heart is the broken heart. A heart can only be whole when it's broken, which I guess many of us will have experienced. And the striving to be invincible, which exists in our culture in some way and in our psyche, which of course in its worst light became the search for the Superman, the Aryan Superman who was invincible. But in fact, the way of wabi-sabi, the way of kintsugi pottery, and I believe the way of Druidry as well, because I think these ideas come from an observation of nature and noticing that beauty is in the red leaves that fall that we know will decay, that the beauty in an old person's smile is somehow related to the fact that it won't be there for much longer. And so although the rabbi and now we're referencing Japanese ideas, I think they're coming out of a real connection to natural processes. And so do if you want to give your soul a gift, a present, do listen to the program. I hope you can, if you're not in the UK, I hope you can hear it. There's always this silly business of controlling territories. So if you can't, if the link doesn't work, I apologize. If you're in the UK, it certainly will work. If you're outside, maybe not. But it's really, really very touching. And I thought for our session this evening, to really entertain this idea of appreciating our brokenness, not as something that is a failure, or even that just is unfortunate. If only I wasn't broken in that way, if only I wasn't weak in that way, if only I hadn't made that mistake, if only my life had turned out differently, if only people had treated me better, if only I hadn't had this accident, if only I hadn't had this illness. All those thoughts we have, which can come too from the pressure to fulfill our potential. So it's always like we're not quite good enough. You know, the classic school, I don't know if you got those school reports, but I used to get them. You know, Philip has so much potential, but he doesn't try hard enough, you know, and I think probably all schools say that about kids, you know, or they used to, certainly. So there's always that sense that you're not quite good enough, you know. But to this idea says, no, 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 the brokenness in you is part of your beauty. Paradoxically, it's a part of your strength in a way, and this is lovely. And this is a quality and an idea we can really connect with at this time of Olben Elfed, the autumn equinox. If you're in the southern hemisphere, as I saw AD is, then you can still connect with it because these are universal principles. And so I thought, let's do a meditation where we really open to appreciating fragility as a quality in life. Fragility, weakness, and brokenness as something beautiful, as something very special that somehow allows the divine to shine through, which is, of course, what that famous line in Leonard Cohen's song Anthem, you know, there's a crack in everything. How does it go? What's the second line? There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets through. Mark Townsend, the Druid Christian priest, wrote a book on this theme called The Gospel of Falling Down. So let's work with this theme in our meditation now. If you're up for it. If you're new and this is all strange for you, you don't have to do this now. You can just listen to it, check it out, see if it's all right for you, and do it later. You can, you know, because this goes up on YouTube and on the Facebook page of OBOD as well, so you can watch it at any time. But let's open ourselves now to just being seated here. Wherever here is, wherever you are in the world, that's where you are, seated at one level in front of your computer or your phone or your tablet. But once you close your eyes to better concentrate on yourself, you can gradually allow your awareness of your physical surroundings to start to change. So you sense yourself instead in the sacred grove, in a clearing in the forest, sacred to the Druids, a magical place between worlds. And you become aware of the earth beneath your feet. You can sense all the life in the earth, all the organisms, the soil, the rocks and minerals and crystals, the water, all the creatures, all this life. And you feel this strong, healthy life, the slow rhythm of it. And you can feel it bringing you healing and strength and stability as you allow yourself to just relax and just to let your tensions just drain away into the earth as the energy of the earth rises up into you. You become aware of the trees around you. You sense their roots deep in the earth. You sense the quality of their being, each tree different in some way, like having its own personality, its own spirit. And you breathe in the energy of the trees. And the energy and the perfume of the trees flows into your being, bringing you strength and vitality. And you become aware of the sky above. The moon is rising. There's a beautiful full moon rising in the night sky. There are stars too. And you feel the crisp, clear energy of the sky. And you breathe in the energy of the sky and the light of the moon. And it flows into your being, bringing you vitality. And the energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And you open your inner eyes in the grove and you see the moonlight is so clear. It's almost as if it's daylight. And a gentle breeze passes through your grove, and one leaf begins to spiral down from a branch high above you. And you see this leaf spiraling down. And as it does, you watch it fall. It falls to the ground. And you see the leaf lying there. And now slowly the light begins to change. In this magic world, things can happen quickly. And so it's as if the sun's rising now, the autumn sun. And the sunlight plays on this leaf, and you can see its red and golden color. And you look up again against the blue sky, and you start to see 2, now 3 leaves starting to tumble down. And you just follow them slowly as they come to earth. And you look at them on the ground and you see their color and you bask in that color. You soak it in, this beautiful red and golden color. And you know these leaves will soon rot into the soil, will soon change until they become beautiful skeleton leaves, and then those skeletons will just melt into the soil to provide food for the trees growing around, for the insects, the worms. But for now they lie there. And now a breeze travels through the grove again, and you see a whole cascade of golden leaves come tumbling down. And you move into the center of your grove. You stand in the center of your grove, and you open your arms out wide. And you look up into the blue sky, and you allow these golden leaves to tumble down. And you feel them like drops of golden light falling around you, some of them brushing against your skin as they fall to the ground. Each leaf brings a gift of love, of beauty, of energy into your aura, into your being. And you bend down now and you pick up a handful of these leaves and you hold them to your nose, you smell them, and you smell that autumn smell. And again, that aroma flows into your body. That smell you've smelled in the past so many times. And you can feel the healing power of the smell of this life flowing into you. And you now kneel on the ground and you place the palms of your hands on the ground. And you ask for a blessing on the land, a blessing on the earth, a blessing on this sacred place. And then you lift your palms up and you hold them to your heart. And you ask for a blessing on your life, for a blessing on all lives. And then you step back to find your place in the grove. You sit down in the grove and you become aware of your companions, a circle of like-minded friends and companions seated in meditation. And you sense the quiet beauty and harmony of this circle. And then, giving thanks to your companions, you allow your awareness of them to dissolve. Giving thanks to the trees around you, the earth beneath you, and the sky above you. Gradually, your awareness of the sacred grove begins to fade as your awareness of being seated here in this room, facing your computer or your tablet or your phone, as that grows stronger. And you become fully present, fully aware of being seated in front of your computer or tablet or phone. You take in a deep breath, and when you feel ready, you stretch your fingers and toes, and you open your eyes. So, I hope you enjoyed that. Ellie talks about the beauty of rebirth also, because of course, yes, in that sense of the decline into the darkness, there's also that knowledge and knowing of the rebirth. There's a lovely way in which this time is also the time of the harvest. So it's a harvest time, which is incredibly rich, even though it's also a time of letting go. So there's this beautiful relationship in celebrating the equinox with Stuart Young. You heard the recording and you remember the Beatles in it. Yeah, Blackbird, absolutely. Yes, there's this lovely sense in which in the autumn you have on the one hand the riches and the bounty of the harvest, and that feeling of letting go, that relationship between richness and fullness. And Kirsty saying that works so well with broken clients, got this work in psychotherapy is hugely relevant to all of this, of course. So that our clients, people who come to see us in therapy, somehow can connect to the beauty, the light in the cracks, in the brokenness. Yes. So thank you for existing. Thank you for being. Thank you for being here. Thank you for those of you who bought a copy of The Winged Psyche, which is a book that I received. I mean, that was an example. You know, I made a separate video about this, The Winged Psyche, and it all started in the spring, where I became aware of a being close to me, and I decided to have a conversation, and it's being felt angelic. It felt really beautiful, and fragile at the same time. The awareness itself was fragile. I could have easily dismissed it as some kind of fantasy in my head, but it felt really real, like there was a person 10, 20 feet away. And I decided to sit quietly and have a conversation with them, and that the conversation resulted in a little book called The Winged Psyche, which I hope you enjoy if you have a copy. So lots of love, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. May every day be blessed. May the autumn here in the Northern Hemisphere bring you many fruits. And in the summer, in the Southern Hemisphere, may your days, as you start to enter the longer days and the time of the spring equinox, may every day bring you strength and vitality and joy. Okay. And see you next week. Okay. Bye.